Channel. So in this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to make this very easy top. Guys, you can use even like 1 yard of fabric for this top. I saw it on Instagram, so I wanted to show you guys how to make it. And the first thing you're going to do is just to fold your fabric. You see, this fabric is on a fold, this one is also on a fold. This is my back panel, this is the front panel. So basically, after folding it into two, I'm going to, the length I have here is just my shoulder to my shoulder to about 11 inches or so. 11.5 is what I have here, because I want it to cover around my armhole, because I'm still going to insert a sleeve. So I just used 11.5 here so that I can be able to get in my sleeve into it, because I'm going to start with dividing the shoulder. So let's start with that. So the shoulder measurement divided by 2 is going to be 8, because my shoulder is 16. I'm going to come down here, mark 1 inch of shoulder slope, and then insert my shoulder measurement, which is going to be 18. Divided by 2 is 9. So I'm going to mark that here. Guys, you see, this is... So guys, the whole point of marking this here is just because I want to know where my armhole stops, right? So my armhole stops somewhere here, so that's why I can always go back in and trim off some of this. It depends on you, the length you want yours to be, but I think I might just go down and use maybe 11 inches on the dot, because I wanted to use 11.5, but I'm going to be turning this over with lining, so I don't need that much room. So 11 inches is okay for me. So I'm going to cut off this excess. So guys, now that I've cut it out, I'm going to go ahead and mark my armhole this way, give it my armhole curve. And then after that, you're going to go ahead, the width I'm using here, remember the back is going to have a zip. That's the point of this 1 inch of extension from the back. So the next measurement I'm going to insert here is going to be just my bust measurement divided by 4, which is going to be 10.5. And then plus extra 1 inch of seam allowance, which I'm going to mark in here. So that's the whole width I have here. And then after that, you're going to go ahead and insert the neckline you're working with. I'm going to use 3 inches of neckline, connect my shoulder slope. So guys, I'm going to mark, come down here, mark 1 inch of my back neckline. My back is going to be 1 inch back neckline. And then for the front, I'm going to do 3 inches for the front neckline, which is here. And then I'm going to connect it this way and mark it. Guys, don't forget, for the armhole, you're still going to go ahead and curve it in a little. So come here, mark the armhole I have, which is 9 inches. Go in here by ½ an inch and then connect it all the way this way with a straight line and then with a curve on this side. But I'm not going to cut this part out until after I've cut out the back. So guys, this is basically all we need here. So I'm going to split open the back so that is our back panel, right, for the zipper. And then the next thing I'm going to do is just to go ahead from the armhole. I'm going to cut this part out, cut out my armhole this way. And then this is the back armhole, cut out the shoulder. I'm cutting just everything that has to do with the front and the back, right? And then later I'm going to just go to the front and cut out the rest. So cut out the neckline, and then I'm going to cut this front. So now my back panel is done. Guys, there is no darting on this. There's not going to be any darting, because remember, your dart comes from the waist to the chest line. And since this top basically stops at the chest line, there will not be any dart here. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is. So for the front now, what I'm going to do is just to go ahead and cut out the armhole that we marked here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out now. I'm also going to go ahead and cut out these 3 inches of neckline that we marked. So that is basically my front panel now, guys. And then the next thing we have to mark here is the neckline. So it depends on you what you want yours to be. You can do 3 inches in front here, and then I'm going to connect it from this part of the armhole to that point. So guys, I'm going to do 3 inches because I'm still going to take away ½ an inch when I go to join it, and then ½ an inch here. So I'm going to be left with basically 2 inches in between, because when I go to join this neckline with lining, I'm going to take away ½ an inch in sewing it. And then when I go to line the bottom part, ½ an inch is still going to be taken away here. So I'm going to be left with 2 inches, but it depends on you. You can do 2.5 if you just don't want a lot of fabric here, but this is okay for me. I'm now going to connect it from here. Just try not to give it a lot of curve, right? You don't want to give it a lot of curve. So I'm going to just connect it from here to this point here. This 3 inches mark that I made, I'm going to connect it from this point to that point, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut this part out. So this is now going to be the keyhole that I'm trying to make here, right? Guys, this is just a keyhole top that you can wear with like a bodycon dress. So this is basically what I'm working with here. So now all I have to do is to trace this out on a lining. But before that, we're also going to go ahead and cut out our sleeve. So guys, the sleeve can be anything you want it to be. It can be a long sleeve, it can be this type of puffy sleeve, but I'm trying to replicate the particular one we saw online. So the next thing I'm going to do, this is the sleeve I'm going to be working with. So the total length I have here plus all the seam allowances I'm going to be using is about 15 inches. So I'm going to give it a puffy exaggerated sleeve. That's what I'm giving it here. So I'm going to come down here by, let's say, 2 inches or so, or I can even do 1.5 if I don't want it to high here. I'm going to do 1.5, and then I'm also going to mark 4 inches for my cap height. This first 2 inches I marked here is just for the top of my sleeve, like the puffiness at the top, and then I'm just going to fold the edge. So now the next thing I'm going to do is just to insert my armhole divided by 2 here. So next thing you're going to do is from this point here, mark your armhole divided by 2. I'm going to mark that here. So from everything on this side and on this top part here, doesn't matter. This part here is not is like the part that will help my sleeve to look more exaggerated. So I'm just going to mark in my normal sleeve on just this point here. So from here now, I'm going to just connect in a straight line to this point and mark it this way. And then halfway through this line, which is going to be about 5.5 for me, because this line here is about 11 inches, 5.5. I'm going to give it a curve below, but then the curve above is going to start here. So from the curve above, this, because normally when you're marking a normal sleeve, you mark here and then here, but I'm going to take it up here, just like how you make a puffy sleeve, right? So all this part now will be part of my puffy sleeve, exaggerated puffy sleeve, right? If I'm making a puffy sleeve, it would have just ended here, right? But like I said, it's an exaggerated one, so I added more fabric to it. So this is basically what it looks like now. So I'm going to go ahead and cut from here now all the way out. Now, sure. So guys, this is basically my sleeve. This is the part I've cut out. I'm just going to go ahead and notch this part so that I know that this is the tip of the sleeve. All this part now, I'm going to gather it and insert it into my sleeve. And then this part here, I'm going to fold it. If you want, you can do the type that you can add elastic to the end. If you want, you can just leave it open. I'm going to be leaving this one open. So guys, now let me go ahead and trim and trace out my fabric on a lining. Here I've gone ahead and joined the lining. You see, I sewed this part here and then sewed the body. So this is actually the front panel, and then the same thing is what I did for the back. I just went ahead and sewed the neckline, and then I also sewed the bottom, the same on both sides. So all I have to do is just to notch the center and then notch these parts of the seam that I made, and then I'm going to flip it inside out and iron it. So just once you've sewn it that way, go ahead and notch it, and then you flip it and iron it. So guys, this is it here. I've flipped it in, I've ironed it. So now this is the zip I'm going to insert at the back. I'm going to insert this zip here and then facing this way. And then also this is my front panel. You see what it looks like here. So guys, basically this is almost done. So I know you might be thinking how I'm going to join this together. So the shoulder, you can go ahead and join it this way, the lining to the lining and then the cloth to the cloth. So you can join the shoulder, or even if you want, you can just take the front, the back panel, insert it inside of this front panel and then sew it down this way. Just sew it together down like this way. It will help you so that your back so that the lining will not be moving around. It will help to stabilize the lining. That's if you sew it this way. So you see how my front panel is here, the back is together this way. I can just take it like this and then use this front panel to wrap around it and then sew it down and then pull it over this way. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and insert the zip, join the shoulder, and then I'm going to put in my sleeve. Basically, this looks so nice. You can try it out, and then once you sew it, you just bring it down. Basically, the length is supposed to be just enough so that you can fit in your armhole and then have a little to close up your seam with. That's basically what the length is supposed to be, and then you bring up the front. So that's basically it. You can try it out. You can change your sleeve and make it whatever you want it to be, a long sleeve with a cuff, anything you want it to be. And this is the back here. So yeah, thank you guys so much for your time, and I will see you in my next one. Please guys, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and bye.